My sister-in-law kept insulting my husband for being a stay-at-home dad. I finally snapped and revealed how he had supported their entire family during tough times, right at her wedding dinner. Backstory: I'm a 28-year-old trauma surgeon, and my husband, Jason, 29 and I have been together for 6 years, married for 3, and are parents to a 1-year-old daughter. We met through my brother, who's close friends with Jason. Jason used to be a police officer and frequently visited my brother's pizza place, sparking their friendship. One Thanksgiving, my brother invited Jason over, and that's when we first met. I asked him out soon after, and we've been inseparable ever since. Jason proposed after 3 years of dating, and we got married. I'd already met his family multiple times before our wedding. Most of them were welcoming, except for his sister, Janice, 27F. Even Jason's mother was warm and kind, but Janice never quite warmed up to me. Jason assured me she'd come around eventually, but her attitude never changed. Her disdain was subtle. She'd make backhanded compliments or deliver snide remarks disguised as jokes. Initially, it bothered me a lot, but over time I learned to ignore her behavior. It wasn't worth letting her get under my skin. Janice was careful never to make her remarks in front of Jason, likely because she didn't want to alienate her brother. Jason was aware of the tension between us and tried to ensure I wasn't left alone with her during family visits. I didn't want to cause a rift between Jason and his family, so I chose to endure her behavior for the sake of family harmony. Looking back, I wish I'd spoken up sooner instead of staying quiet to avoid being labeled as the person who causes drama. Recently, though, I reached my breaking point. Jason had been a police officer, but he left the force several months ago to become a stay-at-home dad. We made this decision together because, as a trauma surgeon, my job is demanding and unpredictable. We both struggled with balancing our careers and family life, often relying on daycare and our parents for childcare. Despite this, we felt we were missing out on precious moments with our daughter and wanted at least one of us to be home with her full-time. About a year ago, Jason proposed the idea of quitting his job to care for our daughter. I didn't force him into this decision. It was entirely his choice. I earn more, and we both felt it made sense for him to stay home. I repeatedly asked if he was sure about this because I knew how much he loved his work, but he assured me he wanted this change. Now, he's a full-time dad and manages the household while I work. He admitted it was a challenging transition initially but has since found joy in spending time with our daughter. He even told me his dream job used to be policing, but now it's being a father, and that's something truly beautiful. His family's reaction. Unfortunately, his family doesn't see it that way. They have a very traditional mindset, where men are expected to be breadwinners and avoid household chores. Although the women in his family are allowed to work, they're also expected to handle all domestic responsibilities. His mother, for example, was forced to quit her job to take care of the home, and they don't see any problem with this arrangement. Jason and I have discussed how outdated and sexist this mindset is, but we've chosen not to confront his family about it to avoid pointless arguments. In our household, we've always split chores equally, and now, with Jason at home full-time, he handles most of the domestic duties. For us, the division of labor isn't about gender, it's about keeping our family happy, healthy, and functional. His parents and Janice, however, have been vocal about their disapproval of Jason's decision. They argued with him for months, saying that staying home made him less of a man. At first, I tried to defend him, but his parents made it clear that my involvement would only strain their relationship further. Jason also preferred that I stay out of it, so I respected his wishes. It took a while, but eventually, his parents seemed to accept our arrangement, or so I thought. It had been months since they last brought it up, but Janice couldn't resist making snide remarks, especially during family gatherings. I did my best to ignore her, but I reached my limit at her wedding dinner when she insulted my husband yet again. That's when I decided I couldn't stay silent anymore. The tension between us and Jason's family eased up a bit after Janice got engaged to her boyfriend of 2 years, Harry, 27M. With the excitement of her upcoming wedding, everyone seemed to forget about Jason's decision to quit the police force and be a stay-at-home dad. We were relieved, thinking the family had finally moved past their criticism. For a while, it felt like we could breathe again, as all the focus shifted to Janice's big day. The rehearsal dinner. Last night, we attended Janice's rehearsal dinner, and that's when everything took a turn. Jason and I were sitting opposite Janice and Harry, surrounded by other family members. The conversation was light and enjoyable, and I felt a sense of relief that we were finally getting along with his family again. I thought maybe the judgment about Jason's decision was behind us, but then Janice steered the conversation in a direction I'd been dreading. She casually asked me how work was going. I felt uneasy, but I answered politely, hoping she wouldn't push further. Then she turned to Jason and, with a smirk, asked how his work was going, adding that his job must feel like a long vacation since he was living off my income. She followed up with more snide comments, implying that I wore the pants in the family. Jason tried to smile through her jabs, brushing it off to keep the peace, but I could see the discomfort in his eyes. After years of dealing with Janice's passive-aggressive remarks and the family's outdated views, something inside me snapped. I couldn't let her belittle my husband any longer. The outburst. I interrupted her, saying that no matter how many jokes she made, Jason was still a better man and a kinder human being than anyone in their family. I then revealed something no one had expected to hear at that dinner. Jason had been financially supporting his family since he was 18, when their father lost his job while Jason was still in high school. He stepped up, working 2 jobs to help his parents make ends meet. Meanwhile, Janice was kept in the dark about their financial struggles. The family chose to shield her from the truth, letting her live her carefree life without realizing the sacrifices her brother was making. As I finished, silence fell over the table. Janice looked stunned. I could tell this was a revelation she wasn't prepared for, nor were the rest of the family members. After a moment, Jason and I excused ourselves and left the restaurant. We walked back to our hotel without saying a word, but I knew he supported what I'd said. It was his silent way of telling me I hadn't done anything wrong. The aftermath. This morning, we woke up to a knock at our door. Jason's parents were there, wanting to talk. They wasted no time, saying I needed to apologize to Janice. According to them, it wasn't my place to reveal that part of their family history, and I'd ruined the mood of the evening. They insisted Janice was only joking with Jason the way siblings do, and my outburst was uncalled for. Now, Janice was having a complete meltdown, feeling guilty and upset after learning the truth about her family's past. They believed she was too emotionally fragile to handle this information, which is why they had kept it from her all these years. They demanded that I apologize to Janice and the rest of the family, retract my statements, and smooth things over before her wedding tomorrow. They wanted me to say I didn't mean any of it to make sure the wedding day wasn't overshadowed by this drama. Jason, however, was firmly on my side. He told me I shouldn't apologize, as I was merely standing up for him after years of Janice's rudeness and the family's criticism. He even admitted that he'd found it increasingly hard to deal with his family since he quit his job. He'd hoped they would be supportive of his choice to be a stay-at-home dad, but instead, they constantly made him feel inadequate. I've been struggling with what to do. On one hand, I feel justified in defending my husband, and I don't regret standing up for him. On the other hand, I'm aware that Janice is getting married tomorrow, and I don't want to be responsible for ruining her big day. Update 1. After reading through the responses and discussing it with Jason, I've decided not to apologize. We've started packing our bags and are preparing to leave. It wouldn't feel right to attend her wedding tomorrow without addressing the situation, and since I'm not planning to apologize, it seems better to make a quiet exit. We're going to inform Jason's parents before we leave. Disappearing without saying anything would only make things worse. Jason reassured me that this is the best decision. He said Janice has always been rude and insensitive without facing any consequences, and it's about time someone stood up to her. He also acknowledged how difficult it's been for him to endure his family's outdated views, especially after he left his job to focus on our family. He's ready to distance himself from their negativity and move forward with his life on his own terms. Now, as we prepare to leave, I'm left wondering if this might be the wake-up call Janice needs, and if standing my ground will help Jason and me build healthier boundaries with his family in the future. We always knew Jason's family had some old-fashioned, misogynistic views about work and household roles. Looking back, we probably should have expected this clash, but we genuinely wanted to give them a chance to grow and let go of their outdated beliefs. They had every opportunity to support us and embrace our choices, but instead, they doubled down on their old ways. So if we choose to cut ties now, it's a consequence of their refusal to change. We're happy with our lives as they are, and if they can't find it in themselves to be happy for us, then we see no reason to keep them in our lives. We don't need that kind of negativity dragging us down. Over the past few months, the constant criticism and negativity from his family have made it clear that our relationship with them isn't healthy. We've finally reached a point where we're ready to say goodbye. Jason and I had been maintaining contact out of a sense of obligation, but the disrespect disguised as jokes and concern has become unbearable. It's time to draw a firm line and let them know that it's not acceptable to treat us this way anymore. We've realized that we've been setting a poor example by tolerating their behavior for so long. It's time to teach people how we want to be treated. From this point forward, we are demanding respect for our choices. If they can't bring themselves to support us, then they don't deserve a place in our lives. Update 2. Jason and I are back home now, but leaving wasn't easy. When we told his parents we weren't going to apologize and were heading home, they were furious. They had clearly expected us to just apologize and move on, so they were caught off guard when Jason informed them we wouldn't be attending the wedding. They started yelling, insisting that we couldn't leave because it would raise too many questions at the wedding and potentially ruin Janice's big day. Jason's mom was adamant that we needed to be there, saying any issues should be resolved later. Jason explained that we didn't feel comfortable being present because it was clear Janice didn't respect us. We'd had enough of the poor treatment ever since Jason quit his job, and this was our way of standing up for ourselves. His parents accused us of being selfish and putting our egos first. They argued that our absence would create drama and shift the focus away from Janice's wedding. We argued back and forth until Janice herself walked in. She had overheard the commotion from her room next door and decided to see what was happening. When she found out we were leaving, she made it clear she was actually fine with it. She said she would prefer if I didn't attend, though she was okay with Jason being there, assuming he would come without me. Janice accused me of being selfish and vindictive, saying I had ruined her rehearsal dinner just to stir up trouble before her wedding. We had a brief, heated exchange, which I regret because it only escalated the situation. In the end, though, it gave us an opening to leave without further drama. They didn't try to stop us, and we left quietly. Jason and I sincerely hope Janice's wedding went smoothly, but we have no interest in reconnecting with her or his parents anytime soon. If they ever choose to apologize, we might consider mending things, but we don't expect that to happen. For now, we're just relieved to be home. We picked up our daughter from my parents on the way back, and Jason is playing with her as I write this update. This is where we feel happiest, just the three of us, away from all the drama. Update 3. It's been a day since Janice's wedding, and although we weren't there, we've already heard from a few people that our absence caused quite a stir. Ironically, despite his parents' fear that our leaving would draw attention, it was Janice who ended up making it about us. Apparently, she kept bringing up our argument throughout the day, especially when distant relatives who hadn't attended the rehearsal dinner started asking about what happened. It seems she leaned into the drama, turning the focus onto the fight rather than the wedding itself. It's disappointing, but not surprising, given her tendency to thrive on attention and drama. We've been getting messages from relatives trying to get details, but we're not engaging. We don't want to add fuel to the fire or give his family any more reasons to gossip about us. We've decided to take the high road, keeping our responses vague and not getting involved in any back and forth. Letting his family speculate and spread their own versions of events is fine by us. We have no interest in participating in their drama or letting it disrupt the peace we've found at home. Our focus now is on protecting our little family and maintaining a healthy environment. As far as we're concerned, we're done tolerating disrespect. If his family can't respect our choices, they have no place in our lives, and we're perfectly content with that.